Associate Dean for Undergraduate Programs here in the School of Business. And Mondays at noon is our weekly forum, where we gather as a community to talk about topics that are important to us. We are recording this session, and it will be available on the School of Business YouTube channel later this week. So I'm excited about our program today. It's going to be led by Dr. Danielle Xu, Professor of Finance and the Mozilla Chair of Business Administration. So I'm just going to hand it over to you, Danielle, to take us through the program.
Okay, thank you, Molly. So happy Monday, everyone. First of all, thank you for coming to this very special event to celebrate our students' work on this very, very special project. So Avery and Matt are among 7 Mozilla interns we hired during the spring semester. 5 others who, some of them are here, actually work for our NGO partners, including Second Harvest, At the Call, If You Could Just Say One, and Family Promise. So before I hand this over to the students, I would like to acknowledge my sincere appreciation to the Mozilla family, Mr. Mozilla and Mr. Angelo Mozilla and Christy Larson for their continued support and care for this program and our students. I would also like to thank Dean Anderson, Associate Dean Molly Pepper, Maureen, and AJ for their behind-the-scene work to make this happen, and Vicky Huck for her help with recruiting these excellent interns. Molly Ayers and Cole Kelly for connecting us with Northeast Community Center and providing guidance for their work. Last but not the least, Mr. Dave Richardson. I'm sorry for nagging you with so many emails and phone calls over the last month, but the bad news is that I will not stop. So I look forward to working with you on this project and hopefully to have a grand opening in the fall. Okay, so without further ado, I will hand this to our students, Matt and Avery, the best of our graduating seniors with concentration in finance. I'm very proud of their work. So Matt and Avery, it's all yours now.
Thanks, Professor Xu. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right, and we will go ahead and get started. Yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in today. Are you able to hear me? Is there an echo at all? I think we're good. Yeah, thank you again just for joining us today. Sorry about that. Matt and I have been working a lot this semester in our internship with Opportunity Northeast, and are looking forward to just kind of sharing what we've been working on and what we're really excited about for hopefully opening this fall. Yeah, I'm gonna hand it off to Matt.
Awesome. So just a quick introduction. I'm Matt Perkins, senior at Gonzaga studying business with concentrations in finance and economics. And then I also compete on Gonzaga's tennis team. And then around campus, I'm involved with a few different community outreach and volunteer initiatives. And then professionally, I interned last summer as a finance intern at Starbucks. And then I'm actually moving to the East Coast next month to work for an investment bank after graduation. So big changes coming up, but definitely excited.
Yeah, I am also a senior and I am focusing on finance and operations. I'll be graduating as well in like 5 days, which is wild. And I'll be moving to Woodinville, Washington. I'll be working at DeLille Cellars in the fall. Throughout my time here, I've been involved with the Gonzaga Club women's lacrosse team, as well as teaching fitness classes at the Rudolph Fitness Center. So kind of a little bit of background on Opportunity Northeast. Neither Matt nor I had kind of heard about it prior to this. It's basically the umbrella term for Gonzaga's involvement and just partnership with the Northeast community of Spokane. It's through the CCE in Hemmingson. And if you've ever heard of Campus Kids or Walking School Bus, it kind of falls underneath that umbrella. It just really represents this ongoing collaborative relationship that Gonzaga has with the Northeast community of Spokane, and wanting to learn with and learn from our neighbors here in Spokane.
Awesome. Yeah. So just to touch on kind of how this all came to be. So Dr. Xu originally reached out to the finance concentrations back in January, just informing us about her vision to have a student-run business with a social cause as well. So Avery and I really jumped on that and got involved at the beginning of the semester. And we kind of took it a lot of different routes. First, we had this vision of kind of like a student-run food truck that supplied locally sourced food and drinks from small businesses in Spokane, with a real focus on like economic development among small businesses. And then for some reasons that kind of changed and shifted. And then we had this idea of maybe, okay, a student-run coffee shop. So we did a lot of research and reached out to different colleges that were doing something similar to what we had visioned. And so actually we spoke to a coffee shop called Atlas down at Walla Walla University that's completely student run, and just kind of heard about their formation and their operation and what they're getting out of it. And so we kind of really liked that idea. And so then we had a meeting set up with Dave Richardson, the director of the Northeast Community Center, and just to hear about some of the social needs in the area and figuring out what maybe we could serve. And so we came into that meeting not thinking that we would walk out in a partnership, but that's what happened. So I'll let Avery now kind of touch on some more details with that.
Yeah, and really quickly, like into that first meeting, it became really evident that a partnership would make a lot of sense with the Northeast Community Center, just looking at the work that they had already started with an idea of an in-house coffee shop. And they actually had partnered with the New Venture Lab, I believe in 2019, to kind of outline a business plan. If you saw that logo at the beginning, that's credit to them. And so we thought it would be really a cool way to just kind of get this this project rolling in a little bit quicker and just a more feasible manner. I think that one of the big drivers for us was wanting to really serve the needs in the Spokane community and not just have our own agenda and kind of foist it on people thinking that that was what they needed if it wasn't really. So we thought that the fact that we were partnering with the Northeast Community Center, who is obviously very familiar with the community and the needs that are represented there, we felt really good about just kind of pouring our time and our efforts into this partnership.
Yeah, and so that's kind of how we landed on this concept of coffee to careers. I think, as Avery said, we want to give a major shout out to New Venture Lab and those that were involved in this. They really laid a lot of the groundwork that really helped us speed up the process. And so a big thank you to Cole, as well as the group that really came up. They even came up with the name and the logo and a lot of this. So we definitely want to make sure to show our appreciation. But Coffee to Careers is a program that trains and employs 16 to 24-year-olds in the Spokane community who come from low income backgrounds. And the program consists of 6 weeks of educational training and workshops, and then 3 months working in the actual coffee kiosk, which will be located in the Northeast Community Center building. And then after 3 months of employment, the goal is to partner with local small businesses and secure them with longer term employment. And so Gonzaga will employ 3 interns and really handle the management side of things and make sure that it's prosperous and really meeting the vision and the goals that we have laid out for it.
Yeah, so early on, we knew it was important to kind of establish mission, vision, and value statements. We want to make sure that, as Matt and I head out the door really, really soon, that future interns are able to kind of look back and know what direction we're headed with this. We want to make sure that future interns also align with these values, and hopefully this can be something that lasts for years and years. So the mission of this program is, through the catalyst of coffee, we will provide tools, experiences, and relationships that enable individuals in Spokane to maximize their capabilities and navigate a meaningful career. So not only just tools and experiences, we also want this to be an opportunity for Gonzaga students as well as participants in the Coffee to Careers program to get to know one another, learn from each other, and form kind of mentorships among one another. And then also kind of noticing and identifying their own personal career values and goals, and hopefully bringing that into whatever comes next after either graduating from Gonzaga or graduating from the Coffee to Careers program, and really carrying that throughout their careers.
Yeah, and then our kind of longer term vision for this program and what it would serve in the community is a Spokane community where all young professionals are empowered to reach their full potential. And we mean this in the participants of the program and also Gonzaga students, one where long after their program, they are learning lessons and experiences that really benefit them in their career and in their life moving forward. So that is our vision for this program.
Yeah, and we identified 3 values that we hope that all participants and interns involved will align with and hopefully develop while they go through the program. The first one being collaboration, so sustaining long-term partnerships between participants, local businesses, and Gonzaga students that are meaningful and collegial. Next up is personal development. Participants will build upon their unique strengths and values, which will carry into their careers and lives. I kind of touched on that earlier, but I think that Matt and I really see this as being an opportunity for students to do a little bit of self-evaluation and self-exploration and have a little more clear idea of what they can bring to the table in a professional career. And finally, a love of Spokane. I know that Matt and I have really loved the opportunity to kind of pour back, or at least hopefully pour back into the Spokane community at the end of our college careers. This community has poured in so much to us, and it's a privilege to hopefully pour back in some small way. And we hope that future interns and participants will feel similarly and just wanting to see Spokane grow into a more prosperous and equitable community. So early on in our conversations about what this partnership would look like, we decided to take on a more management focus versus a mentorship focus. And what I mean by that is we hope that future interns will take on a more operational role in the day-to-day functioning of the coffee kiosk. And then as we kind of grow and become a more stable and robust program, we're hoping that students will be able to actually maybe go in and teach a couple of lessons or help out in the coffee kiosk just to get to know participants and have kind of a more collaborative experience. And our heart behind this is just to have a sustainable program where we don't overstretch ourselves too early on. We want to start small, and then when we know that we're ready, we want to slowly start taking on more responsibility and more commitments with the coffee kiosk. And that being said, we, as we kind of go through these next slides with more specifics, we just want to emphasize that these roles and just all of these hopes and kind of initiatives within this are flexible and dynamic, and we want to just make sure that future interns don't feel boxed in and that they can kind of lean into what they feel might be right moving forward.
Yeah, so just off of what Avery was saying, with the Gonzaga interns taking more of the management routes, and then having people in the community, people from the Northeast Community Center, Gonzaga faculty, and then students as well, also really being involved in the education and mentorship side, which is for that 6 weeks that I talked about at the beginning. And so here are kind of some of the things that will be touched on in those trainings. So exploring and creating my path. So really learning about your own interests and learning about maybe what kind of careers excite you. Career readiness skills. So this will range anything from interview prep to resume building and that sort of thing. Preparing to enter the world of work. So just learning different skills about, or different skills that employers want and that stand out to them. Communication and interpersonal skills. So developing those skills with colleagues and with bosses and managers. Basic financial literacy. So these are, anything from personal budgeting to how debit, credit cards work, to really anything in that realm. And then finally, job search and retention. And this is a big one for us, just because we understand that this could be a great 4 months, but our goal is that this 4 months will help propel the career and the life for years and years to come. And so we really want to have a focus on that job search and helping pair them with a job that really excites them and something that they believe they want to show up to every day. So that's really a key focus for us as well.
And then from the more Gonzaga side, we're hoping to have 3 Coffee to Careers management interns. These will ideally be paid positions for an academic year. We want to ensure that these are kind of long-term commitments. 3 Gonzaga Business School students, ideally concentrating in each of these areas, so finance, operations, and marketing. We want these roles to have a lot of overlap and a lot of flexibility between them, but we do have some kind of things in mind for each of them. And on this next slide, I'll kind of show what the relationships among all the players will hopefully be, at least kind of from our hopes and our intentions at this point. So the finance intern will be the main point of contact with Dr. Xu, kind of reporting back to her from the Mozilla side of things, and the Opportunity Northeast side of things. And then the operations intern, we're hoping will be a little bit more boots on the ground at the coffee kiosk. They'll be the point of contact with the Northeast Community Center, as well as the managers at the coffee kiosk. I'm not sure we mentioned this yet, but we are thinking that managers, 1 or 2, will be hired at the coffee kiosk to work full time, just to keep things running on a daily basis in between cohorts. And then finally, the marketing intern will likely be in contact with Coffee to Careers participants in both recruiting and just making sure that their experience is a good one and a meaningful one. And then finally, with future Gonzaga interns kind of in that recruitment process, reaching out, working with the Career and Professional Development Office potentially there.
Great. Yeah. And now just to touch on some more details for those 3 interns. So first being our operations intern. And as Avery said, this person is really going to be working with our store manager, who will be full-time, and then we'll have 2 potentially part-time store managers as well. So they'll be analyzing and paying attention to sales and adjusting any orders of materials or whatnot based on such. And then, as we touched on, working with our store manager to create in-store procedures and guidelines, ones that are most efficient for the coffee shop to function at its greatest capability. And then finally, communicating with Northeast Community Center for any support. So that's working really closely with Dave and just making sure to have a constant line of communication there as well. And then our finance intern, this is pretty self-explanatory, but really paying attention and creating quarterly profit and loss statements. This, we want to be a chance for students to really apply their classroom knowledge in more of a real world setting, while also getting the social component. And so we hope that, they can apply some of the classroom material to kind of this real life project. And then adjusting forecast and projections, monitoring expenses, as well as paying attention to any possible cost-cutting opportunities that really still maintain the efficiency that we're striving for. And then, as Avery touched on, being the main point of contact with Dr. Xu. And then our last intern, marketing intern. So working to create a social media presence to attract those in the community to the actual coffee shop, bringing in new customers that maybe wouldn't normally come into the Northeast Community Center, but really trying to educate the community on the program and hoping that will bring more of a customer base into the actual coffee shop. And then creating and designing marketing materials targeting both the Spokane community, so attracting participants to the program, and we'll kind of touch on the recruiting aspect later on in the presentation, but also attracting Gonzaga students and having this become a program that is known at Gonzaga and something that students are or can really get behind and are interested in being a part of.
So our timeline, looking into the next 6 months, we're hoping to have a single intern over the summer under the category of Opportunity Northeast. We're hoping that this person will just keep the momentum rolling on this project from the Gonzaga side of things, maybe be reaching out to local businesses who would be interested in potentially hiring Coffee to Careers graduates, and maybe even looking into solidifying the 3 interns for the academic year starting in the fall. So if any of you students listening are juniors or sophomores and this sounds interesting, definitely reach out to myself or Matt or Professor Xu. And then from the more Northeast Community Center point of view, we're hoping this summer they'll solidify, and they are working on solidifying their design and their funding. One of the board members at the Northeast Community Center is actually an architect, so that's been really helpful to kind of start that work. I believe that they've already got some of the licensing and things like that kind of in the works. And then hopefully starting in August of 2021, construction will begin. And at that same time, 3 Opportunity Northeast interns, our operations, our marketing, and our finance interns will be beginning at this time. And then the hope is that in September of 2021, construction will be completed and the coffee kiosk will be able to open, as well as we will begin our first Coffee to Careers cohort. So this is all kind of within a 6-month span.
Great, yeah, and then as I touched on earlier, just getting into more of the recruiting aspect. So this program, we see cohorts of 6 to 10 individuals of low income backgrounds, and the application process will be based on merits and then their ability to commit fully to a 4-month program, as well as throughout the program, we have some different stipends that we're still working on figuring out the details, as well as some benefits that we can provide to kind of help incentivize being a part of the program and really seeing the merits of what taking 4 months out of a year to be involved in this could really do for someone. And then Dave really helped us with our partners in recruiting and really trying to figure out who can assist us in bringing in students that want to be involved and could really benefit from the program. So first being On Track Academy. For those who don't know, it's an alternative school in Spokane that really has a focus on learning in applying things, applying concepts to real life situations, and that are big on that application piece. And then WorkSource Spokane and ARCA Spokane, 2 national organizations, but specifically looking at their Spokane branches that really assist in partnering employees with employers. And then finally, local high schools and school counselors. So finding school counselors that can help in setting us up with individuals and families that could potentially enjoy and benefit from a program like this. Yeah, and then so this is just a brief budget, and again, major shout out to New Venture Lab. Pretty much all of this is their work here. So we definitely want to show that have a lot of gratitude for what they've done. So just to kind of to touch on some of the key points, I'm not going to go over everything, but a big struggle we had in the beginning when we were looking at a standalone coffee shop was the cost of rent and how much we would need to really raise in donations to have something like that really come to be. But that was really one of the benefits here of teaming up with the Northeast Community Center, as these are annual costs. And so $4,400 of rent for a year is not too bad compared to what we would have been facing if we were looking at more of a standalone shop. And then as you can see kind of down in the background costs, as we touched on, we'll have 1 full-time manager, someone who is there making sure that the production of coffee is happening year round, as well as 2 part-time managers, just so that any breaks between cohorts or any breaks during the summers that occur, the coffee shop isn't just closing down, but rather we still have a functioning program that's really serving the needs. As we talked about, there's an estimation for stipend to workers and benefits to programmees. We've looked at possible benefits we can provide, whether that be, discounts on transportation, just an array of different things. So we're continuing in the works there. And then at the bottom there is kind of our equipment. We are also in the process of speaking with different organizations in Spokane that could potentially donate used equipment which would obviously cut off a good amount of the costs, which could be really beneficial. So still very fluid. And as in our meeting with Dave Richardson last week, we talked about how this was done a year ago. So how some of these prices may be increasing by, around the 15% mark. So definitely a lot of flexibility in these numbers. But this is kind of just the rough outline that has been come up with so far.
Yeah, and kind of moving out of these specifics, we just wanted to kind of touch on some of the big takeaways from this opportunity and this internship over the semester. It's been a lot of fun to just get to know a lot of new people in the Spokane community and the Gonzaga community as well. We were able to participate in the PICCE Student Symposium this spring. As you can see, it was displayed in Hemmingson. Unfortunately, it was not able to be an in-person event, but we did get to see our poster up in Hemmingson, which was pretty cool. This is kind of a showcase and a time for students to just let the Gonzaga community student know some cool work that they're doing. I believe that it's various initiatives that are partnering with so various local initiatives partnering with Gonzaga students on different programs. So here is our poster. I'm not going to read through it. It's pretty wordy. But basically, we touched on our takeaways and kind of the critical issue behind what we're working on, as well as like how this aligns with the Jesuit mission of Gonzaga, and just some big takeaways for us. So this was kind of a cool experience to have.
Yeah, so kind of just to touch on the transition of the program among Gonzaga students, and also among Avery and I as well. We had met a lot with Cole Kelly and really wanted to make sure that this program wasn't something that we got really excited about for a few months, but then it died down and we didn't really have people taking it over. We hadn't thought enough about the long-term play, because we really are behind what this is serving. And yes, we want it to be something that Gonzaga students are able to be a part of and apply their application or apply their education. But even more than that, we really wanted this focus on the social cause. And so we wanted it to be something that continued long past our time. And so that was really why we placed an emphasis on the transition, ensuring that the project's not going to be something that's short-lived. And then we're still in the process of talking about like a board of directors or a way for Avery and I to really stay involved in this and make sure interns that are coming on from Gonzaga understand the mission behind this and the vision, and that it isn't just a few months that you get to put on your resume, but something rather that you're really, really behind the goal of serving the greater Spokane community. And then finally, we're just really confident in this program, given the commitment from multiple different partners that have really helped to ensure the plausibility of this. So we have a lot of thank yous, and definitely couldn't have done this without many people. So I'm not sure, Avery, if you wanted to add anything.
I definitely wanted to express gratitude to Cole Kelly and Professor Xu, as well as Dave Richardson once more. Thank you all just so much for your time and your expertise. We really appreciate all the meetings and all the time and thoughtfulness that you've put into this just to help us along the way. And I would say personally, one of my big takeaways was just an opportunity to apply some of my coursework senior year at Gonzaga. It's really cool. We take classes like business ethics and strategic management that feel a little bit more holistic in their approach to business. And so I think that was really cool to kind of see those strategic frameworks that we work on during class and just apply them to the real world and a project that Matt and I have grown really, really passionate about. So.
And definitely a thank you to the Mazzillo family as well, just for making all of this possible and giving Avery and I the chance to work on something like this.
Absolutely. Well, with that being said, thank you all so much for listening. We really appreciate your time, especially during finals week. We know it's kind of a crazy time. So thank you for your time and for listening. And we'd like to open the floor up for any questions.
Okay, so thank you, Matt and Avery. I want to echo the comments there. This is great work. Again, I'm so proud of you. You go actually above and beyond what my expectation was, and hopefully, we'll be able to see this happen in the fall. So Dave, you're there. Now, I'm so happy to see you there. So thrilled. Is there anything else you want to share with us, Dave?
No, I just think it's actually amazing that we were able to build off the New Venture Lab work to really help us move this project forward. There's still a lot of work ahead of us, but again, with this partnership, we're one step close to reality of actually making this happen. So the partnership with GU, with CCE and New Venture Lab is just absolutely amazing. School business, very supportive. And Gonzaga's commitment to Northeast Spokane is definitely creating help and hope.
Thank you, Dave. I'm sure, we'll have a lot of more meetings coming up starting from tomorrow and, carry over to the whole summer and the next few years. Yeah. Thanks for being here. Any questions? Yes, Maureen?
I just had a really quick question kind of on the development of the one credit weekend intensive that was delivered by Molly Ayers and her, our colleague.
Jonathan?
I was just wondering if either of the students attended that, and if so, any thoughts on it, feedback?
Avery, I'm not sure. I don't remember if you did it. We had a match during it, so I wasn't able to attend. But Avery, did you?
I was not able to attend either. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, that definitely came up in a meeting with Dr. Xu, and when we met with Molly as well. We were trying to attend, but then it didn't end up working out.
Awesome.
So I also have two other, yes, Cole, sorry.
Sorry. I just wanted to say really quick, Matt and Avery, amazing job. You really, I think someone else echoed it, but you really went above and beyond in the work. And one of the things that I really love to see too is that you really took to heart comments that were made about the longevity, as well as like getting involved in the community. And you didn't take this as kind of like a case study for a class or anything like that. You really like ingrained yourself in the community and the different aspects of it. And you really went above and beyond in doing your research with reaching out to other schools and talking to Dave and taking into account research and stuff that had already been done as well. So I want to give you a round of applause for just how to heart you took this project, and you did an amazing job, and as well, very, very professional presentation as well. I think we skip over sometimes presentation skills and stuff, but the way you ran this presentation and everything was great. So good job.
Thank you, Cole. Yeah, and thank you for all your work too and advice throughout the whole process. It was really helpful and really helped us stay centered on the goal and the mission of all of this. So it definitely wouldn't have come to be without your help. So we really appreciate it.
Yeah, you made it very fun to be part of it. So great job.
Thank you, Cole, actually, for starting this. I saw on this comment from Carol, one of our Mozilla interns for the semester, and she mentioned actually you started this back in 2019, and now we're able to carry this over, and hopefully we'll make this happen with Dave and Molly Ayers together. And again, Cole, you'll be in the loop for all the following meetings, and I appreciate you actually provide so many guidances, right, for the students, for help them to put together this business plan and to meet with them whenever they called for a meeting. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and I'm glad Kara was able to be here to kind of talk a little bit about the New Venture Lab thing as well, because I know we had the work done and we worked with Dave on that, and every couple of weeks I would bother Dave every time I would see him in a meeting. I'd be like, hey Dave, how's the coffee shop coming? And so it was really fun to see Avery and Matt kind of take this up and really keep it running. So yeah, good job, and it was really fun to be part of this process.
Good, thank you. And Molly, yes.
I want to echo Cole's gratitude to Matthew and Avery. Again, just from that original meeting we had, I don't even know if that was early March, late February, to see where you are today and how you really centered Dave's voice and the community. It's really inspiring, and to see how much has gone from the work that Cole, you did with New Venture Lab, to see this project move forward. I know, Dave, this has been kind of a dream for you, and so look forward to seeing how this continues to come together. So thank you, Danielle, too, for providing this opportunity to our community. Really excited to see how this develops. So much gratitude to you, Danielle, Matthew, Avery, and Dean Anderson for the opportunity. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Molly.
Thank you, Molly, for all the groundwork you have been doing there and continue to do there, in order for us to get connected with the community center and to give back to Power Bike, right? Whatever we have at Gonzaga. And Becky, yes, Becky, this is just the starting point. We will include HR for sure in the future. Again, HR is very important, right, for us to hire talents, and they'll be there.
Yeah, I think we were thinking.
And you'll be there as well, Becky. Yes. Yes, Avery.
Professor Bolshafer, we would love to have you involved in this. That would be an incredible help. I think the marketing intern, we were thinking of maybe HR responsibilities under them, but I think that's a great idea.
Again, also now speaking of the Mozilla funding, so you might have questions about, how we're going to start it in terms of budgeting and how we're going to operate it, right? So part of the starting fund and also the operation fund will come from actually it's kind of interesting, from the gains from the student managed Mozilla investment fund. So you see there's a close tie between the Mozilla's investment fund and this operation for the coffee to career. We're basically counting on the students who are managing these funds, right? And also, again, that's another good experience for our students. And whatever they gain in that fund, in that investment, will come back or will go to the coffee shop here. And also, we're constantly soliciting sponsors and donors, right, to keep this operational. I know Dave has a lot of good partners to start with, and also, if we have any other sponsors or partners, you can think of, feel free to bring them up. And the student interns, the rest of the board members will be working with them in the future. Any other questions? If not, then we can just call it today. Thank you for coming during this the business time of the year, and I wish you the best luck in your finals if you're students here, and you all have a good summer after this week.
Yes, thank you, everyone. We really appreciate it. Yeah, Avery and I really enjoyed working on this, and we appreciate everyone listening to everything coming together. So thank you.
Yeah, we're excited for where this is headed, and we can't wait to see what kind of picks this up and where they take it.
And stay tuned. We'll have more coming up.